It's National Toothache Day. Why in the world would somebody come up with a National Toothache Day? My guess is probably enough of you had toothaches that you left an impression. You don't ever want to have that one again. So if you want to prevent toothaches, brush, water jet, and definitely use a chewable probiotics. Did you know that the actual chewable probiotics, certain strains at least, have been shown to decrease the rate of cavities? And cavities typically are what cause toothaches. Now, of course, you have other toothache causes. You can get a toothache from grinding or clenching. If you're stressed, for example, and you can wake up with a toothache. You can get a toothache just from having a gum issue. Like, for example, you got a popcorn kernel stuck deep underneath your gum. You're gonna get a throbbing ache in the area of the tooth. Now, technically, it's not exactly a toothache, but it is a gum ache. And typically, you won't be able to tell the difference between the two. So, how do you get that popcorn kernel out of there? You wanna definitely use a water jet. That's really the only way sometimes. You know, you go in with a toothache, it's like a toothpick, it's impossible to get that out of there. So use a water jet to get all the food out, especially if you have those impacted wisdom teeth all the way in the back. You want to use a water jet around there. So make sure you flush out all the food so you don't end up with pain in that area from just impacted food under the gum. So that's some ways on how to kind of prevent a toothache. Brush, floss, chewable probiotic, and make sure you see your dentist regular. And ideally a biological dentist. But let's say you have a toothache. What do you do about it at home? You know, it can be so painful to have a toothache. I mean, I know, I grew up in Romania. I had 16 huge mercury fillings in my mouth. And before those fillings happened, I had a lot of toothaches. Why? Because I loved to eat sugar during that time. So luckily, I beat that craving, those sugar cravings. But if you do have a toothache and you're at home, the worst thing you could do is not to brush those areas, okay? So what you need to do is grab a toothbrush, start cleaning out all the debris that may be sitting in the area where you have the toothache. Next, even though it hurts, definitely use a water jet. Why? Because you want to flush out all the bacteria from around the tooth, from inside the cavity. But make sure you use warm water. Do not use cold water, because if you already have a toothache, guess what? You're gonna put cold water on that tooth, it's gonna give you a signal. It's gonna hurt like hell, essentially. So use a water jet, clean it gently on the lowest power, and then you can actually use clove oil. Clove oil is a great essential oil. You can actually find it at a lot of natural food retailers or even online. You can take a couple of drops on a little cotton piece or gauze and bite down on the particular tooth that's causing you pain. What you're gonna find is that clove oil is analgesic. What does that mean? It actually decreases nerve pain. Don't spend your money on Ambisol and some other of these products that are on the market because they're full of chemicals and typically they don't work very well. Clove oil, very, very important for toothaches, gum aches, burns in the mouth. For burns, even though it's not an actual toothache, I have to tell you, it'll burn if you put it right on the wound, but then after that it'll have a numbing effect, which is the amazing thing about clove oil. The other thing you can do, if you don't have, let's say, strong pain medication, you can use a great alternative to pain medication, which is enzyme support for toothaches, or any kind of aches for that matter. But let's say you can take 2 to 3 tablets of our enzyme support to help with the aches and pains of your teeth, your gum, your jaw. This is made out of bromelain. Bromelain is an enzyme that comes from the pineapple stem. Plus, it has a bunch of other enzymes, papain, inositol, lipase, amylase, and all these act to decrease pain. Make sure you take this product on an empty stomach so that it is effective. So there you have it. If you, God forbid, have a toothache, make sure you clean off the food, the debris that's there, use your water jet, clove oil, and then take some bromelain. And that's the natural way to treat a toothache.